Alright, welcome to episode number 2, Powerhouse EA, my first EA that I ever put on real money, and one of my favorites. You can find the EA on Ryan's website, responsibleforextrading.com, where you can find details about the Powerhouse and the Architect Algo, another EA that I'm also using. 5 strategies, plug and play, risk management, it has a nice 30-day money-back guarantee, and over 4 years of trading. MT5 fully compatible, of course. And you can always get a 10-day demo, free demo, and of course you should verify always the results that you can find on these websites. There are many accounts on the Powerhouse and of course also on the Architect where you can see the evolution of this EA. Don't forget to subscribe to the Powerhouse series, and you'll receive every week a short episode about how this EA handled itself during the market, the profits, the loss, and all the trades. And if you want to test the EA or if you want to purchase, there's a link in the description, much appreciated. And if you remember from the first episode, there were some small issues regarding some room close on the sharpshooter, which is one of the EA's part of the Powerhouse. It seems that those issues have been solved, and this was quite a smooth trading week from the Powerhouse. Here you can see the growth and the profit since I started trading over a year and a half ago. The balance is a little over $12,000. And this week, this EA produced almost $60 with a gain of 0.5%. Not amazing, but not terrible as well. 0.5% is not a lot, but overall we should end up having a 3 to 4% profit month, which is a good result from my point of view. It traded with 1.68 lots and there were overall 39 trades. Since the start of the year, we have a nice 26.2% profit, and there were over 2,600 trades. And these were the monthly results for this year. 6%, 3%, almost 4%, over 7%, 3%, 3%. This was a slow month, 0.3, and this month is 0.35 with a very slow start, but this week was actually better. And if you look for last year, it started really nicely, 4%, close to 3%, then I increased the risk to high risk, almost 7%, a little over 6%. Then most of us got hit with a big stop loss, in my case on the sharpshooter, on the euro dollar, 30% stop loss, which slowly and surely it recuperated over 5%, close to 3%, over 4%, close to 3%, and 3.3%. And if I look at the pairs that are traded, over 90% it's euro dollar. So this Powerhouse is really relying heavily on the euro dollar. That being said, there are some pairs that can be traded with a sharpshooter, like the pound USD, which I'm not trading. And also there's another EA part of the Powerhouse, which is called the Combat Kid, which also I'm not trading, but many others are trading that EA as well. And let's go quickly through the EAs that are part of the Powerhouse. The Vigorous EA, which is considered to be a scalper, it's going to start with 0.02 as a lot size, because it is now on high risk, 30% stop loss. The next one will be the Sharpshooter, which is starting with 0.04, also now at high risk. After that, the Ranger, which is on pound Canadian dollar and also Australian dollar Canadian dollar, pound Canadian dollar on the M30 time frame and Australian dollar Canadian dollar on the 1 hour time frame. Both of them are at high risk with 30% stop loss and a starting lot size of 0.06. And the last one, the Crackerjack, 0.04, 30% stop loss, so this means also on high risk. There are quite a few trades happening, as you can see in this EA statistics file, and we have an open trade over the weekend, so there are going to be some swap fees. This can happen. It's on the vigorous 0.02. And the week started quite late with the closing trades. The first closing trade was at 7 o'clock in the evening. There were quite a few of the vigorous EA trades open, which ended up closing in a small profit. The level went from 0.02 to 0.03, then 0.05, and then 0.08. So on the first day, there were only trades from the vigorous EA. The second day, the 7th of July, there were some trades from the Crackerjack, 2 trades, closed at the same time, overall a small profit. And then another trade, closed half an hour later in a profit. And here you can see there are 2 sharpshooter trades, both open in the middle of the day and closed a couple of hours later, both of them in a profit. And then there were some trades that actually started a week earlier, on the 3rd of July, 2 trades on the Ranger, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, that ended up being closed on the 7th of July, so this week. Overall, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 trades open at the same time, a couple of them in a loss, and the last one in a profit. And here you can see the power of grid martingale. The first ones were open with 0.06 and then 0.06, but then the third one was with 0.09 and the fourth one was also with 0.09 as a volume, lot size. And those two, the third and the fourth, ended up getting the trade out of troubles into a decent profit. That being said, the grid martingale is not as aggressive with the market master, because you can see the first one was open, and even the second trade was open with the same level as the first one. So it's not 0.06. If this would have been the market master, would have been 0.06, 0.12, 0.24, and so on. So definitely a different trading strategy. The martingale is not as aggressive here, but still it exists because it went from 0.06 to 0.09 in the third level of trading. And in the same day, there was another Ranger trade, this time on the pound Canadian dollar. It opened in the evening of the 7th this month, and it closed in the early morning of the 8th this month. And this was a strange trade, because I've been trading this EA for a year and a half, and it's the first time that I see Ranger closing a trade, a single trade. So this was not connected like here with other trades that ended up being an overall profit. This was just a single trade. It opened at the end of the day. There was quite an aggressive move, if I remember correctly. Yes, there was aggressive move here. It opened somewhere here and then it closed here. So maybe this move with the slippage created an issue for the Ranger. And overall, it closed on its own with a $8 loss, $8.5 loss. I'm not very concerned. Overall, the Ranger is highly profitable. It produced over $2,000 since I put it on in the Powerhouse. But this was a bit strange, so I had to do a bit of research on it to see what really happened here, because this was the first time. Then the trades on the 8th of July, sharpshooter, couple of trades, highly profitable, both of them, both closed at 11 o'clock. Then the Ranger, very profitable, vigorous, profitable. And here again, 3 trades closed by the Ranger on the pound Canadian dollar, 2 of them in a profit, 1 in a small loss. Overall, a very profitable trade. And you can see there is a small difference here between the Ranger that is on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, that has a martingale. The Ranger that is on the pound Canadian dollar does not have a martingale, it's just a grid bot. It will open all the trades with the same lot size, in this case 0.06. Then there were quite a few vigorous trades open in a profit. Here you can see 3, 4 trades close at the same time, 1 in a small loss, 3 overall in a really nice profit. Another trade on the 10th of July from the Ranger, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, 0.06 lot size, close to $3 as a profit. There was a trade also on the Crackerjack, quite a quick trade, less than an hour, quick profit. And then the vigorous opened quite a few levels here. It started with 0.02, 0.02, then the next one 0.03, and then 0.05. So martingale here as well. Overall, with a small profit. Only 2 out of these 5 trades that closed all on the same time were profitable, but because the 0.05 was the last trade that was open, with the power of martingale, this profit actually ended up turning these 5 trades in a decent profitable trade. And the last one was the Crackerjack, open and close in less than half an hour with a decent profit. And like I said, there is another trade that is open over the weekend. So overall, a decent week, not an amazing week. I've seen better weeks than this, but we're in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to have at least a 3%, with a bit of luck, maybe even 4% month, but it should be definitely a 3% month. Instead, if you want to test the Powerhouse EA, you can use my link in the description. Always put it on a demo account and definitely backtest it. This was it, the second episode. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I'll reply to all of them. This will be a weekly episode. Looking forward to seeing you on episode number 3. next week. Have a very profitable week.